All right, we ready?
Ready? Rolling.
Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Alliance Group podcast. We have a very special guest joining us in Stratton Studios today, Miss Natalia Oliveira from the Boss Agency, which is part of Five Rings Financial. Natalia has an incredible story that I can't wait to get into this morning. Natalia, welcome back to Atlanta. Thank you for being a repeat visitor to the Alliance Group podcast. I've been really excited to get into this story with you because you have a very unique and, honestly amazing success story to tell from somebody who, was born here in the U.S. but moved back to Brazil at 1. You came back to America when you were 18 years old, right?
Yeah, correct.
And not knowing any English.
No, very little English. Brazil English, which is nothing.
Right. And your first job at 18 was?
Dunkin Donuts.
Dunkin Donuts.
Yeah, $8 an hour. My paycheck used to be $296 for a week. Yeah, I remember it was like something there.
Yep. So, but you and I were talking before this podcast. You were obviously here in this country, not knowing any English, very little English, making $8 an hour at Dunkin Donuts, but you always had bigger aspirations. You always knew that you wanted to be not just successful, but wildly successful, right?
Yeah, I always had the feeling. I had the feeling that I was made for more. I had something inside of me. I want to do more, Mm-hmm. And I had the ambition and all of that too. And I know that in this country, that's where we have all the opportunities. So
absolutely. So you had this entrepreneurial spirit right from the very beginning, and that kind of translated into starting your own business. Because one thing you also told me is you didn't like having a boss.
I hated having a boss. I hated like asking for time off, PTOs or whatever. I want to go to Brazil visit my family after a year here, and I couldn't because I didn't have enough days off. Yeah, and go to Brazil, it's not like going another state. You have to spend at least 10 days, 15 days. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't do that. Oh, it's terrible. I remember one thing. When I first signed up for my first job in an office, it was an international moving company. And you were signed up and there was something like years until we retire. It was like 45 years, 50 years until we retire. Mm-hmm. And I was like, hell no. I'm not staying here for 45 years. That's something that catch my mind. And I was like, no.
So you always had this knowledge that, I have to do this now because I have to earn money.
Yeah, of course.
But there's something bigger waiting for me. And you always kind of had this feeling that it was going to be you being your own boss, owning your own business.
That's for sure. I didn't know what. Mm-hmm. Now I do life insurance, but I never thought of that 15 years ago.
Very few people are like, I'm going to do life insurance when I grow up, right?
No. But life turns out, and I do that now, but I didn't know exactly what I was doing, what I was supposed to do, but I had that inside of me. I'm going to be my own boss.
Absolutely. And a lot of people do have that. I mean, you're either the type of person, I think, who is kind of needs that structure of being an employee of someone else. Mm-hmm. And then there's other people that just are never happy working for somebody else. Mm-hmm. There's a quote that's
me.
Right, exactly. There's a quote I really love. I think Lee Duncan as the first time I heard it, whereas you can either, I'm going to probably butcher this, but it's basically you can either build your own dream and work to build your own dream, or you're going to work building somebody else's dream.
Yeah, right? I know that saying,
Yeah, and
that's
so
true.
You always knew that you wanted to do something else. So let's fast forward to the first time that you truly got to experience owning your own business or being part of your own business. This is you and your ex-husband actually started a construction business, right?
Yeah, I remember that we had the money, and we had a friend who had the expertise in construction. Mm-hmm. So we got the money, he got the expertise and the contacts, and then we made a company. A year or so later, we found out things were not working between us and the partner, and then we had to finish the partnership. We were making a good money at that time, like the most money that we have done until that point in our lives in the U.S. Everything was looking good. I got pregnant at that time because especially, I don't know, people think about getting pregnant when they have money, right?
Right. Yeah.
And
You feel secure. You're like, okay, I'm ready to bring another life into this world that I'm going to be financially responsible for.
Yeah. And then life happens and actually happened to us. And because we end up the company, the money was not the one that we were used to have anymore. So we had a bankruptcy. I was 23 years old. It was such a hard time for me because the feeling of going in front of a judge and he's asking, what happened that at 23 years old, you were having to declare like bankruptcy? What happened is we messed up. Things didn't go the way we expect. And we did that. It was terrible, but it was a good opportunity for us because of that situation, we decided to move to Florida. Which was the best thing in my life.
You had been in Boston.
Yeah, I was in Boston. And I was not happy because of the weather. I was not happy because I didn't have a lot of friends. I'm a people person. And I always was thinking about going back to Brazil. Because I think that was something with the place. But then we decided, okay, let's try. Since we are bankrupt, we're going to need to start from the beginning. We're
starting over.
Yeah, we're starting over in a sunny place. Why not? And then
let's at least go somewhere where the weather's better than Boston.
Yeah, correct. And then we decided to go to Florida. The best thing we did.
So, it's funny because obviously bankruptcy, it must have been very hard to go through at the time. But if you look through history, you look at the best entrepreneurs ever, the most successful people.
They did it.
They had bankruptcies, right? Most businesses, the vast majority of businesses fail. And again, going back to those quotes that we love so much, failure is just an opportunity to learn, right?
It's our best teacher.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Failure is our best teacher, right? So you guys, obviously that first construction business goes under. Now you're down in Florida. You're still not going to go work for somebody else. You guys decide, I think that your ex-husband down in Florida now gets a job working in countertops, right?
Yeah, he was like starting a new career. He didn't have any experience. He was doing like a very a job that he didn't like to make a little money. I was working from home for another company. I had a boss again. Right. I have a little one at home, but it was good because I was working from home. And he saw an opportunity in that business, in the countertop industry. We can make a good money out of this if we own our own shop. And then I said, okay, go. Use this time that you were there as a school. Learn everything from the beginning, and then we're going to open our own shop. Yep. I always have the entrepreneur thing inside of me.
Yes, you're like, we're going to own our own business again. I can't do this working for other people.
Because we were bankrupt, we saved most of the money because we didn't have any debt to pay. So all the money that came, we saved. So the day that we are able to, we opened the company. And a year and a half later, we did that.
Wow.
It was so funny. You know what I used to do?
What?
We rented a place to do the countertop shop, and then we didn't have any clients, but we had the place now. We didn't have the tools, the machines. We had nothing, the equipment, nothing.
But you had the building.
I had the building. Now we need a client, so I start calling places. Look, I open a new place here, countertop place. I want to do partnership with the cabinets companies. I used to knock on their doors and present myself and say that we had a new business here that we want to do partnership. And then we started a business out of nothing.
Wow. Yeah. You literally just went and cold called and door knocked.
Yeah, wow. I did that.
And that's really what it takes. That's that entrepreneurial spirit. You got to get out there and you got to go get those clients.
And it was good for a long time. We stayed with the company we owned the countertop shop for 8 years. We made a very good money, but I was not fulfilled professionally because I had the feeling that it was giving me money, but I didn't have the boss, but the business was my boss.
Right.
Because
you didn't have freedom of time.
I didn't have freedom of time. I had to be there. And when we went to Brazil. When we came back, everything was a mess. We had like a lot of damage and things was not working the way it was supposed to be. So I didn't have a boss, but I was
your clients
locked
were your
inside my business.
You had to be there servicing all those clients that needed help. You, again, still didn't have that freedom of time. And
I didn't.
So this is right around the time while you're owning this successful but difficult countertop business. This is about the time that you get introduced to Five Rings Financial, and I believe it was Rickson, right?
Yeah, it was actually as a client. In Florida, there was a case. That's how I was introduced. There was a case of a car accident. Couple died, and they left 2 kids. I was pregnant of my second child, and then I said, "What?" am I going to do if something happened to this man, my ex-husband, because he was the one who was bringing most of the income.
Right. And he was also your business partner, right?
Yeah. And I was start thinking, I need life insurance. That's the first time in my life that I was like, that I thought about it.
You even thought about it, right?
Yeah. Before that, I never thought about it. And then I was looking, I went to Fidelity Investments. I went online. I was looking for life insurance everywhere. Mm-hmm. And my ex-husband got to know Hickson in a business meeting. And Hickson was doing like a presentation about life insurance. With living benefits.
Yeah.
The one I was supposed to get, the one that I was already applied for, there was no living benefits.
Ah, so you'd already applied through some other company
I did.
that didn't have living benefits.
And then my ex-husband said, look, at least listen to him. And I said, no, I already have everything outside.
I've researched. I've done all my research.
Yeah. I did my thing here. I don't need to listen to anyone. And then he said, you're going to listen to him because I need you to sit with him because it's from this meeting group, the business meeting group. We have to do business. I'm trying to network
here, babe.
Yeah, exactly. I said, okay, bring him. And then he came. And when he explained everything to me, the living benefits, the potential cash value accumulation, and all of that, I was amazed by the product. And I said, okay, I think I'm going to cancel the other one and I'm going to do with this guy.
Wow.
Yeah, thanks God I did.
What a fateful decision.
Yeah.
What a fateful decision that was.
Thanks God I did the right decision.
No kidding. So you know, it's really interesting that people, the thing that triggered you, that you needed to get life insurance was hearing about some other family, local family, who had experienced devastation, a horrible story. And that's what made you say, I need this life insurance. And then just as fate would have it, your ex-husband at the time runs into Rickson, and now you have life insurance. You own life insurance with these living benefits that you've learned about. Do you remember when you were learning about living benefits, like where you were as a consumer? Because you had just done all this research on life insurance and living benefits never came up. But now this Rickson Amorum guy's talking about life insurance with living benefits. Do you remember thinking about those living benefits, or what your thoughts were? Were you skeptical?
I'm going to be very honest. That's not... I was very attracted by the cash value thing that explained to me. And I was worried about not living benefits, but insurance for my ex-husband. I was not worried about
death benefit.
Yeah,
for
because
him.
with 28 years old, the age that I had at the time, I never thought sick, wellness, nothing ever passed to my mind. So that didn't catch my attention at all.
Right.
It was good to have it. Some extra, because I didn't hear anything on like the other products that I was researching. I never heard anything about living benefits. It was good, an extra thing here.
Yeah.
But it was not what catch my attention, because I was just worried. If he dies, I want to get something.
Yeah, you were interested in the things that you were interested in, which is death benefit for my husband, and this cash value thing is really cool too.
I never thought about
me.
Why
not?
To be honest, I never thought I'm never going to use this. So I even asked Hickson, I remember, can I have only the cash value part of the policy and not have the insurance for me? Do you believe that?
Thank goodness. Thank goodness you could not.
Yeah. He said, no, it comes with it. So, okay. So put that in. So.
Wow. So after that, you get life insurance. You become a client of Rickson Amorum, who's with this Five Rings Financial. And of course, you just put the life insurance in place. You're like, all right, good, that's done. On with our lives. And then something happened that truly changed your life forever. It's crazy how it actually ended up changing your life in not the most negative way, ultimately, but we're going to get into that. Tell me how you discovered that you were diagnosed with cancer yourself.
Yeah. So less than a year later, I'm the one who had like the bad news, the cancer. I was in Brazil. I was on vacation, and I was feeling some weird stuff, back pain. But I just had a baby, so I thought maybe it's because I'm carrying the baby all the time. I'm breastfeeding and all of that. It changed everything in a woman's body. I never thought cancer. We never think about this, especially when you are 29 years old.
Right.
Yeah.
Young,
it was December.
Healthy.
Yeah, I remember December 2018. When I came back in January, after vacations, I still feeling the back pain. It was a pain that never went away. So we have to pay attention to our body. It gives signals. And I went to the doctor here in the U.S. a few times, and he was thinking that I was going to the doctor to get like prescription drugs for pain. He was already thinking that because I went so many times. And the last time I asked the doctor, what is the next step? Because I know something is not right with me. I have a feeling that something is not right. and I'm feeling this pain. It was not intense, but it was continuous. I was feeling all the time. And then he asked me to do like MRI. MRI of my chest. And the MRI showed that I have like many, many tumors on my chest. Oh my gosh. That I couldn't feel anything. And I had lymphoma. Lymphoma is a type of cancer that it's not solid cancer. It's like, how do I say that? It's not solid. It's more like in the lymph nodes. And it's on the bloodstream.
In the blood, right.
Yeah, it's on the bloodstream. And they saw these tumors here, and they said, probably this is lymphoma because of the location, but we're going to need to do a biopsy and start. So all of a sudden, from 1 week to another, I was a healthy new mom with a baby, normal life, and then cancer diagnosis. Stage 2 cancer. At that time, I didn't remember anything about living benefits, to be honest.
Of course.
Yeah, the only thing that I thought, I want to leave. I was afraid, and
I can't imagine.
Yeah, it was terrible.
As especially as you just had your second child at that point, right?
I just had Bia, which is my daughter, and I was breastfeeding her. I had to stop everything because once I got the diagnosis, I started chemo, the process of doing chemotherapy. And then in February, March, I started doing all the treatment. And I remember that Hickson, he was our friend at the time. Not very close, but we used to talk sometimes. Yeah. And he...
More of an acquaintance, really.
Acquaintance, yeah. And he got to know that I was diagnosed with cancer. And then he said, no, Natalia can get the living benefits. We can apply for her. And I was like, really? I didn't remember, to be honest.
Wow.
That's the reason we have to keep in touch with our clients.
We do. And that is not the first time that I've heard clients say that. But, you put life insurance in place. Sometimes, like you don't even really hear the living benefits part because you're focused on the life insurance part or the cash value part. Sometimes they don't even hear it initially, or they don't, focus on it. So it's easy for them to forget. But other times they heard the living benefits part, but then it's 5 years or 6 years later, so they forget. It's you did not even think about your living benefits.
I didn't really think. And I'm the type of client that when Hickson had explained everything to us, I was really paying attention. I was really interested in the subject. At that time, he even invited me to work with him. He said, you're paying so much attention. You understand so much of this that maybe you should work with us. And I said, no, let me do on countertops. I don't know how to sell anything. Right. Leave me alone, Hickson. Oh, my God.
Just take the policy. I'm not interested in a career.
Correct. Right? Yeah. And then, so I didn't remember, to be honest. But I'm glad that Hickson got to know about the news, and then he said that we could do the claim, and it started our process of the claim in April 2019. Yeah, 2019. In May 29, 2019, a month later, I got the check with the living benefits being paid for our family, $280,000.
$280,000 from this life insurance policy that
less than a year.
My gosh.
Yeah. Less than a year. It made a really, it's not only the money. It's what the money can, the money can make to us. For example, I used to have how do I say, wig?
A wig, yeah.
Yeah, I used to have a wig.
For the chemo.
Because I lost all my hair. And my wig, you couldn't tell it was a wig. It was like a $5,000 wig.
Right. It was a nice wig.
It was a nice wig made of human hair. And why I was able to buy that? Because I had the money with the living benefits. Probably I wouldn't have that money, $5,000 to spend in a wig like that. That is small things that made the process easier for me,
Right.
Of course, all the big things too. I didn't have to worry about selling my house in order to
pay your bills.
Pay my bills. I didn't have to, at the time we had employees at the countertop companies, I didn't have to send them home because I was the one with cancer. But my ex-husband, he was worried about the situation as well.
Sure.
He was not performing the same way he used to.
Of course, because his wife is sick with cancer, and now he's not focused on the business 100%.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
So the living benefit, he's a peace of mind. When we say that to our clients these days, I can tell with 100% sure because I felt that. It was my peace of mind, When I was feeling good, we were traveling.
Right.
So the week that I was doing chemo, I was at home with a babysitter that I had to pay.
Right.
with the money that came from the living benefits, because a babysitter, it's more than $1,000 per week.
You know,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, it's these kind of stories because, you know, on a whiteboard, you're thinking about, oh, if I get sick and I get living benefits, I'll pay for medical bills and I'll pay for, you know, but it's those little things. It's things like a wig that makes you feel better about going through this process and makes you feel more normal, you know, out in public. It's a babysitter to take care of your kids.
Yeah.
It's these costs that
People don't take in account, in
Exactly.
consideration, right?
And makes that, it doesn't make
Cancer go away.
exactly,
It doesn't.
but it makes that process
Easier. Yeah. And not only that, the big things too, you know, it helped us pay the medical bills because we
Yeah.
had health insurance, but there's like the out of the pocket money and all of that. So it was a gift. I say that it was a gift for our family. A lot of divorces these days happens because of financial problems. I don't know, besides cancer, then we're going to be dealing with financial problems and all of that. It will be a problem above, you know.
It compounds, right?
It compounds, yeah.
So this kind of experience that you had, tell me about what happens next with regard to the cancer. So you obviously get all the treatment you need. You're going through chemo. You are able to use the money to kind of make everything a little bit easier for you as you go through that process. When did you get news that the cancer was cured?
Yeah, was on the middle of the treatment. We were doing like a PET scan, and I got the news that the cancer it's 100% gone. But I had to finish the chemotherapy,
Right.
like all the
Kind of preventative to make sure that it goes.
They have to do like 12 cycles. I did all the 12 cycles, and in that process, that's when I started my career. I'm gonna talk a little bit about that.
Sure.
Yeah, I was looking before I got the living benefits. I was looking online. Is that real? Does living benefits really exist? National Life really pays for their clients? Things like that. I was suspecting.
Right.
Too
You were
good
like,
to
is
be
this,
true.
is this really going to pay out?
Yeah.
Like, hold on a second.
And then I heard a story of a person who got the living benefit, and he decided to become an agent because he got the money and it made so much difference in his life. And then I said, okay, if I really got this money, maybe
Now
it's
your
something.
entrepreneurial spirit's kicking
Yeah.
back in. Like, wait a second. So I could, you know, this is a really good opportunity for me to be able to give very unique firsthand experience and use that to tell other people about these living benefits that everybody needs them. And, you know, I can tell my personal story and it gives me I mean, for lack of better terms, it's like it's a competitive advantage, right? I mean, you have this very unique perspective that nobody else has, or very few people anyway.
Yeah.
So at this point, you're interested in possibly starting a career, and this is when Travis and myself, right, at Alliance Group, we do living benefits testimonials, right? So we go out and we find clients who have gotten living benefits, and we come out and we shoot their story, and we make marketing videos that, you know, that help our agents tell people about living benefits and how they work, and do so through these real life testimonial stories. So you were suggested to us, this is before you got into the career, by Rickson. He says, hey, I have this client, Natalia. This is her story. She got this much money. This helped her in these ways. And we said, we would love to come out and shoot a video with you and your client, Natalia Oliveira. And we flew down to Florida. And that is when I met you for the first time.
Yeah, I was that day, the day that I went to shoot the video, I just came exactly right out of the hospital. I was doing chemotherapy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I went there to do the video.
I don't think I knew that. I don't think I knew that you would just come from
exactly same
treatment.
day.
Oh my gosh.
That day.
It had to be one of your last treatments?
It
right?
was, yeah. I think it was my last treatment to be exactly. No, not my last. It was one of the last.
One of the very last ones.
Yeah, correct.
Which is crazy. I couldn't even tell that you were sick that day, or that, you know, that you'd just gone through chemotherapy, because this was, you'd already been cleared of cancer, but it was going through just the last couple of rounds.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So Travis and I think Chrissy Disco and maybe Peter Goldfein, we were all there. We shot this amazing video. That's the day that I met you for the first time. And you delivered this amazing testimonial. You talked about your story. You talked about, you know, how the living benefits helped you. And as we were wrapping, you said that this is actually the day that you made the decision.
Yeah. That was the day that I was talking to Rickson and Gustavo, and they were talking, oh, you should do that. Gustavo was trying to convinced me to become an agent. And then I seen them and seeing all of that, and I decided, yeah, I'm going to do that. Why not? I'm at home. Chemotherapy makes me sick. I'm doing nothing. So then I decided to start studying for the test. It was August 2019.
Yeah.
And I did it in one weekend. Monday, I did my test, got my license in 1 week process. I'm really, let's do this. Let's do fast.
Yeah, gung-ho, man. 1 week. Wow.
Yeah. And then I started, because I was referring a lot of clients to Rickson. And then he got back to me and said, Natalia, this month, if you had the license, only if you had the license, you would get around $10,000 in commission. This is 50%, okay? Because the other 50 is mine. Mm-hmm. And I said, what do I have to do to get 100%? You have to come work with us. And I said, okay, now I want to work with you guys. You never told me about the money before. So.
That was a very important detail.
Yeah.
It would have helped me. That's awesome. So now you've got your license. You got Rickson did an excellent job of showing you, hey, if you come and do this career, look at all this business that you're referring to me.
Yeah,
Don't you want to just write these clients yourself?
Yeah.
And you said, well, that does make a lot of sense.
And I had no experience at all at that time.
With selling
or anything.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So you start now at this point. Tell us about like the first phases of reaching out, like those first few times that you're like reaching out to people or inviting people, kind of getting your career off the ground.
My beginning was really easy, to be honest. I didn't have the experience, but I have the willing to make people know about living benefits. I say that my career started with a big purpose. Mm-hmm. I really wanted people to have living benefit. I started with my family, friends, and they had no option. They knew what happened to me. They saw going through the process of cancer. So it's not like, oh, maybe I'm going to do. No, you're going to do it.
We have to.
You have
Natalia
to.
just got $280-something thousand. Like, I'm definitely wanting one of those policies for myself, right?
Yeah, because we don't know. We don't know if it's going to happen to us. I was 29. Nobody in my family ever was diagnosed with cancer. So we don't have 100% sure of anything.
Right.
Yeah. So I didn't give any options. I pressured them to sign the policy. You're going to do this. And after that, I was moved by a passion,
Right.
You need to have this. And I started learning about the product, the method of selling. I was learning about selling, of course. Mm-hmm. I was doing a lot in a short period of time, so I become good at it.
Right.
And when I started seeing the money too, it was a good thing.
Yeah, it's a wonderful motivator. I mean, we kind of joke about it, but you had this perfect storm of this product that you now truly, truly deep in your heart believe in, and truly are convinced that every single person needs. And now you've got this brand new career, and your whole heart is behind it. And then of course the commissions start coming in, and you start realizing like, wow, by following this passion of mine that I have, it's also helping me earn money for my family. And that's if you can combine a true passion with a career.
That's awesome. That's what happened to me. I'm very lucky. Mm-hmm. Cancer is not a good thing, but we can take good things out of bad things. And that's what happened. It was a gift that maybe if I didn't have the living benefits, I would never say yes to this career.
Right.
But because I got the living benefits, because I had cancer, then
it's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, I started a career and all of that.
It's hard for me to think of another scenario in which cancer somehow ended up having a drastically positive effect on somebody's life. But if you think about it, Natalia, when you say you're lucky, I mean, what an understatement, right? Mm-hmm. It's if you got cancer, but if you didn't have the living benefits, who knows how that would have gone, first of all. But you wouldn't end up in your career if it wasn't for the living benefits. And then getting the living benefits and Rickson being close enough to you where he found out that you had cancer, thank God, and reminding you had living benefits. And then all of these things having to happen, lining up. And what the result is, incredibly, is that you say this yourself, because I was very nervous about putting words in your mouth. I was like, so getting cancer actually turned out to be a very positive turning point in your life.
Yeah, having cancer, it's not good.
No.
But it was a good turning point, for sure. Right. That's for sure, yeah.
Because if you don't get cancer, none of this happens.
None of this happened. In my first year in this career, working 4 months because it was August, September, October, November, December. I didn't work because I was in Brazil. I made like $60,000 working part-time.
Part-time, because you were still doing the countertop business at the time.
I was still doing the countertop business. And I was a mom, so I didn't have a lot of time. But the money was good. The purpose was like fulfilling me. For the first time in my life, I was doing something. I'm good at this.
Right.
I love doing that. Countertop was good. Gave me the money, but I didn't have that feeling, of fulfillment that I have right now when I'm doing what I do.
Yeah.
So I came out of the cancer situation, so we cannot deny that.
We can't deny that. It's been a runaway freight train of success is basically the best way I can describe your career. You're talking about year 1, you're part-time, year 2.
Full-time then. More or less full-time. I don't think full-time yet.
And this is during pandemic, right? This is 2020.
2020 pandemic.
Not many people having the best year of their lives.
I had the best year, not the best, but until then.
Up to that point.
Up to that point was the best time because then I started focusing building this. I was healed. I was not dealing with cancer anymore. I could focus on that. I decided to get away from the countertop. My ex-husband was still dealing with the countertop, but I decided to not work there anymore and focus 100% on the life insurance. And from that year on, I decided to start building my own team.
Right from the beginning, which is very important. Some agents, they're like, I'm just going to focus on personal production for a few years, and then maybe I'll start building a team. But you knew right from the beginning you wanted to build a team, and you started doing that as soon as possible.
To be honest, I didn't know exactly what I was doing, not 100%, but I'm the type of person who I like to see the people's results. I look at Gustavo and Marina. They were having like awesome results. They were making money. They were building something huge. And they said, what you have to do in order to have this, it's recruit people and teach them what you learned. So I believe them. And I duplicated what they were doing. I didn't have the experience and the know-how that I have these days, that I have today. But I decided to do anyways. I didn't question, And then I started doing, and I didn't see the money on that specific and the results in that year. But a year later, I had like a 500,000 agency in the second year.
Wow.
And just because it was like duplicating, just doing without understanding, to be honest.
Yeah.
On the process, I start to understand, of course.
The best way to learn is to do. And I think where a lot of agents have problems in this industry, especially when they're starting, is they have to learn everything first before they start doing, right?
It drives me crazy.
It's the number one thing. I need to learn first. I can't do until I know. Like, no, do. And then you will learn by doing. And
I have a lot of agents on my own agency. They know product much more than I do. And I'm not telling they're wrong about knowing the product. Okay, you want to study, but do 80% and study 20%. Then you're going to have whatever you want on this business.
Yep.
But people do the opposite sometimes.
Sometimes people use I need to learn as an excuse to not do the activity. The activity is the important part, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's been incredible to watch you grow. You now have over 100 producing agents.
Over 100 producing
One
agents.
of the biggest teams in all of Five Rings Financial. Yeah. And again, it's this meteoric success story. As somebody who's, I have this very unique experience of coming and meeting you for the first time. And in my head, this is a client who has, Rickson has helped this client, Natalia Oliveira. And that's when I met you in 2019. And I've just watched you absolutely explode through the years. It must be kind of incredible for you to sit back and every now and then when you're not, because I know you're busy all the time. You run around like crazy. If you're not working hard, you're vacationing hard.
Yeah, one of those two things.
You're doing one of the two things. But every now and then you have the opportunity to kind of sit back and look back at the last 5 years of your life and be like.
It changed, like my life changed completely. After this business, after the life, I can say life insurance changed my life in so many ways. Not only as a client, but now professionally, financially. Now I have the life that I didn't even know that it was my dream, the type of life that I'm living because of life insurance.
Right.
Today, because I sell life insurance, because I teach people selling life insurance, that's my main job today.
Right.
But when I look back, I used to make like 80,000 a year. Sometimes I do that in a month.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I was texting Gustavo this week, and I said, Gustavo, is that really true? Is there any possibility that will end?
Is this okay? Put some pinch me, like
pinch me, yeah, because it's too good to be true, but it's true.
And you're doing, and the thing is, you're experiencing the success, and you're doing it. Yes, the money, awesome, but you're doing it while you're doing two other things, which is number one, helping so many families and businesses get protected with the same living benefits that helped you so much. You are directly, because you still do personal production, you're helping people directly, but also all of these agents that you've brought onto your team and taught to do what you do, all the lives that they're touching, right? And then what you're also doing at the same time, besides helping all these people get living benefits in place and protect families and businesses, thousands of them, you're also helping all of these agents that are on your team realize the same dream that you had back when you were at Dunkin Donuts, and you knew that you wanted to own your own business, be your own boss, have control of your own time, and run your own business. And you're teaching all of these agents how to do the same thing and realize that same dream. It is.
Sometimes, I think I was yesterday here in Atlanta. I was with my team here. I have a few people who are working here, and I was telling exactly that to them. My purpose is the same, talking to people about living benefits. But I would never be able to be talking about living benefits here in Atlanta if it was not you guys. My purpose goes much, like, it expands in a way that I can even tell, because when you have more agents, these agents can get to people that it would never get. Natalia would not get to all of these people if we're not you. Yep. And it's like you said, last year we paid more than $1 million in commissions, just my agency.
Gosh.
People getting paid in the U.S., immigrants, most of them, came to the U.S. thinking that the only way for them to make money is cleaning houses or things like that. And it's not true, just because I offered an opportunity. Come work with us, sell life insurance. Now people making more than $200K. They're 150.
And it's not just that. It's the lifestyle. It's the money. It's the freedom of time.
Spend quality time with their families.
Absolutely. Get to go to all of the kids' baseball games and ballet recitals and all that stuff.
That's awesome.
There's no one telling you, no, Natalia, you
PTOs.
Can't. You don't have enough days off. You can't go to Brazil to visit your family, right? Yeah. And again, underlining it one more time, it's doing all of this while making a huge impact on families and getting this incredibly important protection in place for so many people. That's where these commissions come from. It's by helping people, which is just incredible too, right?
Yeah, it's good.
It is an absolutely amazing story, Natalia, and I'm so glad that we got to actually sit down on this podcast and learn more about your incredible journey. It's not over. This is...
it's just the beginning, Sam.
It's somehow just the beginning of this amazing success story. Congratulations on all the success that you've experienced and that you're helping all of your agents experience. And thank you so much for sharing your story with us on the Alliance Podcast.
Thank you for the time with me. I love it.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody, for joining us as well. We will see you next time on the Alliance Group.
Listen to this interview and more on the Alliance Group Podcast.